Ambitus literally signifies a going about, and cannot, perhaps, be more nearly expressed than by our word canvassing. After the plebs had formed a distinct class at Rome, and when the whole body of the citizens had become very greatly increased, we frequently read, in the Roman writers, of the great efforts which it was necessary for candidates to make in order to secure the votes of the citizens. At Rome, as in every community into which the element of popular election enters, solicitation of votes, and open or secret influence and bribery, were among the means by which a candidate secured his election to the offices of state. The following are the principal terms occurring in the Roman writers in relation to the canvassing for the public offices. A candidate was called petita, and his opponent with reference to him competitor. A candidate, candidatus, was so called from his appearing in the public places, such as the Fora and Campus Martius, before his fellow citizens, in a whitened toga. On such occasions the candidate was attended by his friends, deductores, or followed by the poorer citizens, sectators, who could in no other manner show their good will or give their assistance. The word assiduitas expressed both the continual presence of the candidate at Rome and his continual solicitations. The candidate, in going his rounds or taking his walk, was accompanied by a nomenclator, who gave him the names of such persons as he might meet. The candidate was thus enabled to address them by their name, an indirect compliment, which could not fail to be generally gratifying to the electors. The candidate accompanied his address with a shake of the hand, prensatio. The term benignitas comprehended generally any kind of treating, as shows, feasts, and see. The ambitus, which was the object of several penal enactments, taken as a generic term, comprehended the two species, ambitus and largitions, bribery. Liberalitas and benignitas are opposed by Cicero, as things allowable, to ambitus and largitio, as things illegal. Money was paid for votes, and, in order to ensure secrecy and secure the elector, persons called interprets were employed to make the bargain, sequesters to hold the money till it was to be paid, and devisers to distribute it. The offence of ambitus was a matter which belonged to the judicia publica, and the enactments against it were numerous. One of the earliest, though not the earliest of all, the Lex Cornelia Bibia, BC 181, was specially directed against largitians. Those convicted under it were incapacitated from being candidates for 10 years. The Lex Cornelia Fulvia, BC 159, punished the offence with exile. The Lex Acilia Calpurnia, BC 67, imposed a fine on the offending party, with exclusion from the Senate and all public offices. The Lex Tullia, BC 63, passed in the consulship of Cicero, in addition to the penalty of the Acilian law, inflicted 10 years' exilium on the offender, and, among other things, forbade a person to exhibit gladiatorial shows within any 2 years in which he was a candidate, unless he was required to do so, on a fixed day, by a testator's will. 2 years afterwards the Lex Orfidia was proposed, but not passed, by which, among other things, it was provided that, if a candidate promised money to a tribe, and did not pay it, he should be unpunished. But, if he did pay the money, he should further pay to each tribe, annually, 3,000 sesterces as long as he lived. This absurd proposal occasioned the witticism of Cicero, who said that Clodius observed the law by anticipation, for he promised, but did not pay. The Lex Liciniia, BC 55, was specially directed against the offence of sodalitium, or the wholesale bribery of a tribe by gifts and treating, and another lex, passed, BC 52, when Pompey was sole consul, had for its object the establishment of a speedier course of proceeding on trials for ambitus. All these enactments failed in completely accomplishing their object. That which no law could suppress, so long as the old popular forms retained any of their pristine vigour, was accomplished by the imperial usurpation. Caesar, when dictator, nominated some of the candidates for public offices. As to the consulship, he managed the appointments to that office just as he pleased. The popular forms of election were observed during the time of Augustus. But the Emperor Tiberius transferred the elections from the comitia to the Senate, by which the offence of Ambitus, in its proper sense, entirely disappeared. The trials for Ambitus were numerous in the time of the Republic. The oration of Cicero in defense of Lucius Murena, who was charged with Ambitus, and that in defense of Gnaeus Plancius, who was charged with sodalitium, are both extant. If you have enjoyed this audiobook, please consider supporting the channel in one or more of the following ways.